Welcome, class, to week number 2 of Memory and Magic. I'm glad that you're here. I'm Bob Miller, so I'm going to be teaching the class, and the first thing that we're going to be doing for every class is doing a review. And I like to do the review in terms of a quiz. Now, I'd never told you guys like what types of things were going to be on a quiz, but this is for your own benefit, for you to review. And don't worry, the quiz will only be 50% of your grade and will be on your permanent record. Have you ever heard an adult say something to you like that? Like,
Yes.
so when we were growing up, the adults and the teachers would always put fear into us by saying, this is going on your permanent record. I don't know where the permanent record is. I've never seen my permanent record, but that's what the teachers would say. So what I would like you to do is to, if you have paper, take out a paper and a pen. If you don't, I have some for you. But before I show you what word means the study and development of mnemonics. Yes, mnemonics. Good memory. Did anybody get this one? Good memory equals what? Were you going to say something, Evan, or not? Good memory equals good imagination.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
I should probably have had it the other way. Good imagination equals good memory, but 3 memory methods to be taught in the class.
I only got one.
What did you get? Oh, good. What did you have, Evan?
That's what I had.
You had, oh, journey method. Did you get anything,
That was
Francis?
really easy.
No? Anything, James? All right, let's look at the answers. Okay.
Hey, yeah. Okay, so.
The 3 methods are the paired associates. That's a one-to-one. You see one thing like, what date did Columbus discover America? And then you get, so it's a one and another. What's the capital of Kansas? You get that. That's paired associates. Linked list is a long list of things you got to remember, like a shopping list or a to-do list, or and the journey method is just a path. 3 benefits of learning mnemonic techniques, and this is what I shared. Self-confidence to know that I can do hard things. And that was really a big one for me, because when I learned how to when I memorized pi to the 400th decimal place, it convinced me, hey, I can do that. Saves me time sometimes if I don't have to use my cell phone. You know, I don't have to look up passwords and stuff on my phone. And it demonstrates competence. Now, this is the most important one.
I wrote respect instead of
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, respect.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. See, that's the most important one, because if you guys go to a job interview, or if you're on the job, the person that demonstrates competence in the job is going to rise to the top. That means they're going to get paid more. That means they're going to get promoted. You get more money because you demonstrate that you know the stuff. Like, for example, if you're working in a business and you know the prices of the products, and you can just name them like that, that would really impress people. It would impress your customers, it would impress your boss
But they could,
also.
how would they know if they were trying to rip them off or not?
Well, this doesn't mean that you say, just trust me, that's the price.
Oh,
But like if you're talking to somebody and a customer goes, what does it cost for web hosting at your company? And you, rather than saying, let me look it up or let me ask my boss, that doesn't sound very good, does it? Doesn't sound like you know what you're talking. If you just whip that off right away, then you've got an answer.
oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So it demonstrates that you know what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. This is what we're going to be doing So last week, I just want to review that in the first half of this semester, the memory part we'll be spending an hour on, and the magic half an hour. And then at the last half of the semester, we'll be flipping. We'll be spending an hour on the magic. And the memory stuff will just be half hour, because it'll just be review. You guys saw me do the milk trick. I started out with a 4-ounce glass of milk. And I poured it into a 6-ounce glass and filled it up. And then I poured it into an 8-ounce glass and filled it up. And then I poured it into a 12-ounce glass and filled up. And then I poured that glass, maybe I even went to 24, I don't remember, but, and then I dumped it out and filled up all of the glasses with the last glass. But that was just to demonstrate that as you learn these different techniques, paired associates, linked lists, and journey lists, that they will accumulate together to give you a better skill total. You saw me recall 80 names. You guys think you could do that?
Wow.
That's right, that's the start. It starts with 1. You saw me recall pi to the 400th decimal place.
I didn't see that.
You saw me recall 25 playing cards. And I don't have a special memory ability. I do have a trained memory, so I know how to remember these things, but I'm not any better at remembering stuff than anybody else. You guys can do it too. All right. And I did the magic show. We did the jumping wand with the vanishing ball. We did the dice trick, the cups and balls. We did the rope trick. We did the comeback balls. That's where the balls kept coming from my pocket back to my hand. We did the multiplying balls in somebody's hand. We did the torn and restored tissue, ripped it all up. Max ripped it all up, remember? And then he put it back together. He didn't know how. And then we did balloon animal. Oh, I guess we did the balloon animals. Typo there, okay.
Lawn animals.
So this week, I'm going to show you guys a magic trick. Right now, we're going to talk about mnemonics definition. We're going to do a little mind map on the benefits of memorizing. We're going to talk about mindsets, your mindset, how you think about magic, and your focus on on the teacher, on your focus on what the teacher's doing. That's a good thing too, right? And we're going to talk about more about the 3 memory methods that we'll be learning. We're going to do a mind-expanding demo. And we're going to have you guys start thinking about your final class assignment, which is choosing 40 things in a row that you're going to memorize. Okay? Now, the reason that I'm teaching memory as part of the magic is because you can use the memory, like if you're doing a magic show, you can remember the order of the tricks you're going to do, because you don't want to be looking at a list all the time. And you can remember the names of all the kids in your show.
Right.
Parents are really impressed by that a lot. Let's talk about mnemonics definition. Okay, mnemonics is link building, using your imagination. Remember on this word, the M is silent. Just say mnemonics.
Mnemonics. Right, James?
Mnemonics, right. So that's link building. You're making an association. You see, when you remember something, you don't normally know how you find it in your brain, right? You just think, what's my mom's email address? And you come up with it. But somehow your brain is tracking a path back to where that's stored and retrieving it, right? But you don't know the method. In mnemonics, we're just making the method very obvious to help us to get to that final result. Okay, let's talk about why to remember anything. Everything you need to know is on your phone, right? And it's true, just about everything you need to know is on your phone, but we're going to talk about reasons why memorizing is good and beneficial, and we're just going to write this down. This is going to be a little mind map. I want you guys to share with me. We're going to come up with as many reasons as possible why mnemonics is beneficial. So, let me have it. What are the reasons?
So, it makes it easier for your life.
Okay, easier, and in what way? Can you be more specific about easier?
Lists.
It makes it easier because you don't have to read it, a written
Yeah.
list. Okay, easy. No written list. What else?
If you lose like a phone or a list, you already have it memorized.
If you lose a phone number?
Or like your phone has every
Oh, right. So, it's a backup if you lose your phone, you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you say the phone could be the backup for your memory?
Yeah.
That's a better way to look at it, right? Good. Why do you guys want to know how to memorize stuff? What's it going to help? How's it going to help you?
Saves time.
Time saver, okay? Helps you be successful in school is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where else can it help you to be successful?
Business.
Forget to do stuff.
So you don't forget to do stuff, so you don't forget to do things. Do you think it can help you in work?
Yeah.
All right. How do you think your friends will feel if they see you doing a cool memory demo?
Impressed.
All right? Yes?
Jealous.
Yeah, impressed or jealous, right? All right, well, that's enough for now then. About name 3 reasons how memorizing helps or is good. I mean, we came up with a lot of them. This is what I came up with for 3 reasons. When you remember somebody's name, it makes them feel good. They like it. You know, just imagine if you met a famous person and they remembered your name from meeting you somewhere else. Wouldn't that be cool? So it personally makes other people feel great when you remember their name. It's good for business or personal relationships. It's going to help them to like you. You know, when you're in business with people, you like to do business with people. Customers like to do business with people that they like. You know, and it's good for personal relationships too. And it helps to build your own self-esteem because you have confidence in yourself to say, I can do that hard thing. So let's talk about mindset. Mindset is what you believe. All right, here's a trick question. Is what you believe true?
Not always.
Not always. Possibly.
If you have the mindset that you're going to do something, then you can get it done. Yes, that's right. I believe that this is, now I'm talking about this in generally, if you believe something, it's true for you. For example, if you believe that you can't remember 100 items or 50 names, you'll never try, right? Why would you do something that you don't think is true? Now, this applies to magic also, about what you believe is true for you. Your belief controls your reality. When I'm doing a magic trick, or in the future when you guys are doing a magic trick for somebody, you're going to be doing some secret moves that they're not going to know about, right? They're only going to know what they see, and based on what they see, they're not going to be able to figure out the magic trick. They're going to be amazed by it. So their belief makes it seem like you did something impossible, right? Now, I'm not saying that if you believe a false belief, something that is impossible, that's going to be true for you. You know, I'm not saying that if you believe that you are a famous movie star, that means that you automatically are, okay? But I'm talking about things that could be true, but you're limiting them yourself by your belief. For example, if I'm doing a magic trick, people have their reality of what they see controls their whole view of the trick. I couldn't have done it based on what they know. And it's the same for you. If you don't believe that you can remember 40 items in a row, you're not going to be able to do it. So I want you to be thinking about that mindset. I want you to say, yes, I can do it. And you need to be aware of the mindset because that's going to limit you. Okay? Let me tell you the story about how I was able to recall 100 names. I got into memory training because I was a magician. I was performing at an event. There was not very many people at the event. And I just decided when I do my walk-around magic before dinner and I'm doing card tricks for people, I usually didn't ask people their names. But I said, since it's only a few people, I'll just ask them their names. There was like 18 people there. So I asked everybody their names. And then I accidentally remembered them. So after dinner, so about an hour later, I was doing my magic show, and I said, I'd like to welcome all of you. And I named everybody, just to be polite. The reaction I got was amazing. They were stunned. They were shocked. They thought I had a list written down somewhere. And so I paid attention to that. That was great. So I said, I'm going to try to do that again. So as I would do magic shows, I'd try to remember people's names. But I got to a limit, a plateau of about 40 names. If I was doing a magic show and there was more than 40 people in the audience, I wouldn't even try to remember their names because I thought, it's impossible. I can't do it.
Yet.
I didn't say yet though. You see, that was my mindset. That was my self-limiting mindset, so I didn't even try. And then I finally got to the point where I realized, hey, if there's 100 people in the audience and I only remember 40, do you think people are still going to be impressed? Yes, because it's not the percentage, it's the fact that I remember the names of 40 people I just met. That would impress anybody. And so I overcame that limitation, and I got to the point where I was able to memorize 80 and even 100 names of people that I just met. And you can do that too, but you have to think about your limitations. Let's talk about the objections that people have. People would say to me, they'd say, oh, Bob, you can just do this because you have a special memory skill. And I don't have a special memory skill. They say, you have a photographic memory. No, I don't have a photographic memory, but this is what people would say about me. They'd say, oh, this must be easy for you, right? I'd say, no, this is not easy for me. I have to work at it just like anybody else, okay? People say you've practiced all your life. Well, it's true that I have practiced a lot, but there was a point which I didn't know anything. I just learned it. You guys know what I mean? This one that says, isn't mnemonics fake memory? Do you know what I mean by that?
Actual memory that no, like you can do anything without turning.
Yeah. They say, well, okay, you're not really remembering because you're thinking about this word that's reminding you of another word that's reminding you of which number in pi to say. Whereas if you really had pi, you'd just say 3.1415962 and just do the whole thing up like that, right? But the result is the same. You're still able to come up with the answer, and that's great. Okay? All right. Who believes you can recall the names of 50 people you've just met? Who believes you can learn that you will be able to learn how to do that? That's what I'm asking you. Raise your hands. Yes? Yes? Think so, Francis? Okay, good. You will. Imagine this. This is 25 people. You just met them. That's only 25. Can you imagine? You just met those people and now you got to recall all their names. It can seem overwhelming, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. All right. I would like you just to write on your paper what you think is the main hardest thing for you about learning mnemonic techniques, or why you wouldn't be able to remember 50 people, or what would be the hardest thing for you about remembering like 40 items in a row. What do you have?
I might mix up the people.
You might mix up the people, and so your fear of mixing up, calling somebody by the wrong name might prevent you from actually saying them. You can't remember all of them, and so your fear of not remembering all of them might stop you from even attempting it.
Yeah.
That's what I had. That was my fear that stopped me. I said, I can't do everybody, so I might as well not even try. But instead, you should say, I'm going to try to remember who I can, okay? And then take the risk of naming somebody. If you think you know their name, it's no worse calling them by the wrong name than by not naming them at all. It's the same thing, so just say their name. All right, now we're going to talk about the 3 types of memory methods. Paired associates. That's linking something you know to something you don't know. Well, no, here's what I mean by paired associates, okay? You see somebody's face and you recall their name. That's a pair, right? When did Columbus discover America? Okay, that was a historical event, and then the date of the event. That's a pair, right? Here's something else. Who won the Super Bowl this last year?
The Rams.
The Rams, okay. So Super Bowl champs for 2022, Rams. That's a paired associates, right? Names and faces, dates and events. Oscars and the movies, who won the Best Picture Oscar? Word and a definition. Like if you're taking, or any of you guys like taking a science class, and you've got a difficult word that you have to learn the definition of.
Yeah, there's lots of them in science.
There's lots of them in science, right? So that's a paired associate. States and capitals, products and prices, your friends and their birthdays. What are you going to do if your phone can't tell you when your friend's birthday is going to come up and you want to send them a birthday card in time? Bible verses and references. Any of you guys did any Bible memorizing? Yeah? You got to come up with those references, right? Sports teams and who the players are on the teams. Speech outline and the message. So you might have an outline say this thing, but you got to figure out what words to say. Names and phone numbers. That's a paired associate, very common one. This says chemical name and formula. I took chemistry in high school and I hated it. It was really difficult. But one of the things you had to do was be able to have a name a chemical formula. Playing card, in play or not. If you're playing cards, it would really help you a lot to remember what cards you've already seen in play, right?
Is that illegal?
All right, let's talk about another paired associate. Recalling names. Wouldn't it be cool if you could just remember the names of everybody you met? We will be touching on that briefly, and I'm just going to tell you that I've got a 3-step method for doing this: look, listen, and link. And what that means is that you look at their face, like I looked at, like when I was meeting you guys, earlier. You all look kind of the same, But I looked at Francis, and I looked at his hair that's kind of on his head, kind of flat on his head and sticks down like that. And then, so I looked at his face, how he looked, and then I took his name, Francis, and then I linked those two together. And that method is the same thing you do for anything. If you want to remember the date of a historical event, you hear the event, you hear the date, and you make some type of mental link to link them together. So all paired associates use that method: look, listen, and link. Okay? Now, the second thing we're going to be learning is linked lists. A list of 20 items is just a bunch of paired associates. Do you get that? Like, say, if you want to remember cat, and then dog, and then mouse in a list, you're going to make a link between cat and dog. That's one paired associate. Then you're going to make a link between dog and mouse, and that's the next paired associate. But you're just linking them all together into a chain. So get it? It's kind of like the same thing, right? So the paired associates, the linked list will just help you. You'll remember one thing, it'll remind you what the next thing is. Now, I had asked you guys about your interest. This was the reason I asked about interest, Henrik, today. Not just out of curiosity, but I'm imagining that if you guys were going to make a list of 40 things that you want to remember, you'd probably do it about something you're interested in. So I'd like you to take some time right now and write. I don't want you to write down the list of 40 things. I want you to write down the topic or possible topics. Put them in your notebook. What is a list that you might like to remember? And as you're thinking about that, I'm going to be writing down some ideas on the board to give you more ideas, okay? Presidents, knowing the names of every president, all 46 of them, from 1 to 46. At one time, I had memorized the names of all of the #1 songs of the Beatles, because they had a lot of them. They had like 25 songs that made it to #1 on the top Billboard charts. So I'd memorized that. Another thing you could memorize is sports champs. What do you have, Henrik?
A few things.
Okay.
40 digits of pi.
Say it again.
The first 40 digits of pi.
40. Oh, good. 40 digits of pi.
Yeah, capitals in the world ranked by population.
Capitals in the world ranked by population. I'm just saying them so I can hear them on camera
The
too.
40 closest stars
The 40 closest stars to the planet Earth? Yes. That's cool.
Yeah, those were.
Those are cool. Anybody else got ideas of things you want to memorize?
Well, I do violin, so violin songs and their composers.
Did you say violin?
Yeah, so violin songs and their composers.
Oh, so have a list of violin songs. And their composers, that would be like a double thing,
Yeah,
wouldn't
or
it?
either one, composer or
Okay.
song.
A list of violin songs, all right? Good. Did you come up with something, Evan?
Football players, sport teams,
All right, like who's your favorite football team?
Vikings.
Vikings. Can you name every player on the Vikings roster? But imagine remembering 40 of them, like the top 40. That would be pretty impressive. You could do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Did you come up with something, Francis?
Lakes or rivers.
Say it loud.
Lakes or rivers.
Lakes or rivers. So there's 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, and you could name like the 40 biggest ones, right? Is that what you're thinking about, or are you thinking about in the whole world, or
Probably in Minnesota.
in Minnesota? That'd be cool. Okay. Another cool thing would be, since you brought up states, what if you could remember the states in the order that they became states? So you knew which one was first, which was second, which was third. All right, let's move on. The reason I want you to be thinking about this is because you guys are going to memorize a list. And if it's something that you're interested in, it's going to be a lot easier to do, right? So be sure to come up with something. The next is the journey method. Journey method is a path that you know well, like a path through your house. Imagine if you had a path through your house and you associated one object to every location on the path. You can remember a lot, right? You guys remember when I did the 25 cards I memorized like that? And you saw me do the video of that? I used the journey method for that. Because I have a path, in Rochester I used to jog around this lake every day. So I knew the houses, the buildings, the benches, everything around it. And I could think of it in my brain. And I just, when I'm memorizing cards, I just drop one object that would represent a card in each location. And that's how I could literally memorize 52 cards if I wanted by that method. Instantly. I'm not saying rehearse, I'm saying you shuffle the cards, you deal them up, and I put them in there and I've got them. Okay? So that's what the journey method is. Have you ever heard somebody say in the first place, in the second place? This is where this came from. The ancient Greek orators used this method. They would walk through their house, or they'd walk on they'd mentally walk on like a path that they know, and then they'd say, in the first place, I'm going to tell you this and this. And then they mentally go to their second spot and they go, and in the second place, let me say this and this. So that's where that phrase comes from. Okay, so mnemonics is not about study techniques, but it will help you to study. Okay, it's not about preparing flashcards or reviewing books or anything like that, but this will help you in all of life. Okay, so let me say it again. Mnemonics is the study and development of systems for improving and assisting the memory. You're just assisting the memory. It's like a mental crutch. Okay? It's turning your brain into this, a file cabinet, so you can find everything you want. If you don't use mnemonics, then your brain will look like that, a giant mess. You won't know where to find anything. Okay? Good memory equals good imagination. What I mean by that is, if you can imagine it, if you can imagine the image, it will make it easier to remember. And that's what we're going to do now, okay, using the belief expanding demo. I'm going to guide you guys in a thought process. We're going to memorize 10 objects in a row. It's going to be super easy. And I'm just going to tell you what to imagine right now. But later on, as you become skilled at this, you'll be able to use your own memory techniques, okay? So first, we need a starting point, and you are going to be the starting point. I want you to imagine you in your bedroom, okay? And in your bedroom, you're holding a giant spade or a shovel, and you start digging a hole in your bedroom floor.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now I want you to imagine yourself doing this. chipping through the wood or whatever it is, how hard that would be. You're stepping on it, really think about the action, what noise it would make. Got that? So if I ask you what the first item is, you think, oh, it starts out in my bedroom, you're going to remember spade, just like that. Okay, now the second item is chess piece or king. You can think of that. So now we need to link the spade to the chess piece. So here's what we're going to do. You're already imagining you're holding a spade and you're digging a hole, and all of a sudden, out of that hole comes a gusher. It looks like oil, but it's actually a million little tiny chess pieces, kings, all coming up like, hey, you struck oil. Can you imagine those kings just flowing out? Use that in your brain. That's why I didn't put a picture of it on here, because I want you to use your brain imagining it coming up. So when I say spade, the next thing you think of is king, right? Because that comes up. That comes up in your brain. It's linked together now. Do you guys all have that image? All right. The next image is charcoal grill. Now, at this point, you can forget about I don't want you to focus on the spade anymore, because we're only linking charcoal grill to king. Remember, we're doing a one-to-one, a paired associate. So here's what you could imagine. That you take those little kings and you put them in they're like charcoal. You put them in there to cook your burgers. You put them in there, you put some lighter fluid on there, poof, you light it up. So you're imagining burning up all those kings in your charcoal grill. Imagining that? Okay? Now next is chicken. Now, don't think about the spade, don't think about the king. All I want you to do is think about the charcoal grill and the chicken. Now, it would be really easy to imagine that you're grilling chicken on a charcoal grill, right? But that's too easy. In fact, that's logical. What I want you to imagine is that when you lift up the lid of the charcoal grill, there's a giant chicken in there that flies out. He's squawking, he's flapping his wings. Right? Are you imagining that? So when you think of charcoal grill, the next image you think of is chicken. So when you think of spade, you think of the king, and then the king you think of in the charcoal grill, and then the charcoal grill reminds you of the chicken, right? Now the next thing is soup. Now, it would be really too easy to imagine chicken soup, right? And the reason I put this in here, I want you to not think logically. I want you to instead think that the chicken is living in the soup can. Okay, imagine that. You open up the soup. You imagine the chicken coming out of the charcoal grill, but now you're thinking about chicken, and imagine stuffing that chicken right down in that can. In the can of soup.
You have it jump out of the grill into the can.
We don't care about the grill. You don't even think about the grill anymore. You only think about the chicken, because the grill reminds you of the chicken. So now you imagine you've got a chicken, and what are you going to do with it? You're going to stuff it, force that head right down in that can, jam it in there, okay? Now you're thinking of soup. You're thinking of soup can, right? Soup can. The next image is a suit. Now, I know that soup and suit kind of rhymes, right? But we're not using the rhyming, and the reason I put this in here is to demonstrate what not to do. Don't imagine soup and suit. I want you to imagine instead that you've got this guy standing here in a suit and tie, but his suit and tie is made out of soup cans. Or maybe he's wearing a giant soup can. So you remember the chicken, what the can looks like? That can, Campbell's, the soup. Now imagine that's on the guy. He's wearing, and he can't walk around very well because it's really stiff. Got it? Okay? Great. Now, the next one is ham. What we're going to do is link suit to ham. You don't think about anything that came before suit. So here's one way I want you to imagine. Imagine that there's this, the guy is wearing the suit, or that there's the suit and there's a ham in each pocket. There's one in this pocket. It's sticking out like this, like Henrik, look up here. Ham right there in your pocket. Ham there. There's a ham there. Ham bone, like that. Ham bone sticking out everywhere. Are you imagining that? Okay? So now you're thinking about ham. Just focus on the ham, and now we're going to link this to cash. How are we going to link ham to cash? Imagine slicing off a piece of ham. You slice it off nice and thin, and it falls down, and it's a $100 bill. And then you slice off another one. Another 100. Every time you slice that ham, you're making money. Right? Imagine that. All right? So now you're thinking cash. You go from ham to cash. Now from cash, you're going to imagine diving board. So here's what I want you to imagine. That roll of cash, or a man made out of cash, walking up on the diving board, boom, jumping off.
He's a rich man.
Maybe you could imagine the man diving from the board into a big swimming pool filled with cash. Okay? So in other words, when you think of ham, that's going to remind you of cash. And then cash is going to remind you of diving board. So make sure that you don't think swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's got to be the diving board. So you want to imagine the cash diving off the board. Okay? And then the last one, the 10th one, is cat. So now you went from diving board to cat. So now you could imagine a cat on a diving board. Now cats are not going to want to dive off into the water, right? Maybe the cat is scratching and trying to hang on to the diving board. Maybe it's a really giant cat and the board is bending down like that and the cat's almost ready to fall in. Okay? Get your pens ready. I'm going to have you write something down. Write the list down backwards, starting with cat. Okay, we're going to go backwards now. Who thinks they got them all? Good, I thought you guys would. Before cat comes what?
Diving board.
And then?
Cash.
Ham.
And then
Soup.
Yep,
And then
Soup.
right.
And then chicken. And then charcoal. And then
Cheese pieces and spade.
And then
Very good. Now you guys were able to do it backwards instantly as if you had memorized it backwards, but you didn't memorize it backwards, did you?
No.
But you were able to do it. So that proves that it was the linking. It was the mnemonic linking that helped you to remember this. Because we didn't rehearse it backwards at all, but you guys were able to do it just like that. So congratulations on doing that successfully. That is wonderful. What you guys just learned there is the basis of all memory techniques. It's just linking two items together. Something you know to something you want to know. I want you to just think about this assignment. I want you to be thinking about a list of 40 items. Now, initially when I said 40 items, you might have thought, oh my gosh, 40 items, that's so hard. We just did 10. Was it simple? I mean, and now this is going to sound weird. It's no harder to remember 40 items than it is to remember 10 items. Because you're just remembering a pair of items together. And then that one thing will remind you what the next thing is. So it's just as easy. So your assignment is going to be coming up with a list of 40 items. I want you to be thinking about that, and if you want to start working on it, you've already got the tools set for that. Yes, Henrik, you have
Is
a
it
question?
all right that I link my things together using like a story?
Yes. The question was, is it okay if I link my things together using story? I'll say that yes, with a qualification.
It has to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it has to be ridiculous, but your story, the thing about a story is that with a story, you're trying to hold all of these items in your mind at once because they're all part of the story. They're all like characters in the story. but don't do it that way. Do it so that one thing just reminds you of the next. So you made a funny story, and once you got to item 5, you weren't thinking about items 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? That's great. That is the idea. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Now, let me go through this trick again. Okay. I'm using one of your wands here. I'm not used to this here. Okay. You guys are gonna get a wand just like this. Now remember that we're doing this for little kids, okay? Boys and girls, this is my magic wand. He's just like a pet dog. He obeys and he does whatever I say. Stay. Isn't he obedient? He always stays right when I tell him that, right? And did it move? Okay, stay. Okay, I want you to stay. And see, isn't he obedient? Did it move again? He's a bad magic wand. Okay, stay. There, see, I knew that he would. See, I'm even looking at him. See, wow! Wow, he's kind of a magical magic wand too, isn't he? Well, anyway, when I say the magic word like this, tap, tap, when I say magic word, when I tap my hand, the ball will appear. Tap. What I meant is when I tap my hand 2 times, the ball will appear. And what I meant is that when I tap this hand, the ball will appear. And shoot, it's not working. What are we forgetting? What are we forgetting? Yeah, it's Evan's birthday, right?
Yeah.
So when we tap like this, say it together, happy birthday, Evan, tap, and there it is. The ball has appeared. Now it's time to make the ball disappear. When I tap like this, the ball will disappear.
You forgot to say Evan's.
I have to fail twice, okay? Fail 2 times like that. And then, what's the reason? We have to say happy birthday, Evan, because when we do that, then it will, I'm gonna step back in the camera as far as I can do this. I still have the ball right there, okay? So now this time when I tap, then it will disappear. And you can see it's right there. When I tap like that, whoa! Shoot, it's a bad wand. Okay, now when I tap, we say happy birthday, Evan, happy birthday, Evan, and then it disappears. Yes. Now, here's the lesson on magic. You don't want to do a trick. One of the rules of magic is you don't perform a trick twice.
Yeah.
Except you just did.
Because the first time, people are surprised, right? But the second time, they know what to look for. They figure out, okay, how did it disappear? So they're going to catch you, okay? So that's really the first rule of magic. All right, well, let's talk about the wand first because that is the gimmick, okay? The parts you're going to glue are the big part of the wand. The big part gets glued in. Don't glue this tip.
Only the 2 big parts.
Then this big part on this end it gets glued in, and you may or may not glue that tip. I prefer to have only one tip stuck. You don't have to glue it, but I think it's better if only one tip moves. If you do glue on these little tabs on both ends, then you got to know which end is up all the time. It's not that hard though, but you can decide if you want to glue the tab on both ends. But definitely glue the white part on both ends of the wand. Okay? Great. I've got a jumbo version of this. This side is glued down.
You just glued it.
I just glued it.
Yeah, but not you want.
So this is how this deal works. Because once you've got it glued down, you can do this move. Watch what I'm doing.
Whoa.
Do you see how I get that between my fingers? Just like that. So you could be looking at this right here. You can't see what I did. You can't tell the piece is between my fingers like that, right? So once you do that, then just push the wand down like this. See the string?
I want to go over.
Do you see the string? All right, so you're going to push it down like that, and now if you just loosen your grip, it'll move up a little bit. Okay? Now, this part of the trick, this is not a big trick. Okay, the wand moves a little bit like that. That's what's called a little mystery to set up the big trick. The big trick is when it actually jumps from your hand. Okay? So you're going to do like that and make it slide up a couple of times. And remember, whenever it slides up, you don't look at it. you're looking at the kids, and you wait for the kids to tell you what happened. Okay? So you say, look, he's like an obedient dog. He doesn't move at all. And then you do that. The entertainment is not that it's moving. The entertainment is that you don't know it's moving. Okay? Now, to make it jump.
I'm a really obedient one.
So finally, hey, heads up here, guys. So finally, after you move it twice, and then you just stretch that thing down as far as you can, you're going to get ready for the big release. And for the big release, you look at it and you say, see, he is obedient. And you can be looking at it this time. You're gonna let go with the thumb, and then just a fraction of a second later, you let go with the pinky. So that jumps. Otherwise, it won't jump very good. So practice making it jump right like that. So it should rise out of it should jump right out of your hand. Like that. There you go. That was a good one, Henry.
So you put it between the two fingers, the two middle?
No, the pinky finger and the fourth finger. Yeah, don't say it's not going to jump out of my hand because you're giving away the punchline, right? You just say it's an obedient dog, and you say stay. Oh, he doesn't stay. All right, but you make it jump. So you make it. So the plot on the trick is first you show the wand and you make it move a couple of times, and then you make it jump. Then, and we're gonna review this a lot. This whole time, by the way, did you notice, guys, that when I did this whole time that I was showing you the magic trick with the wand,
Your hand was like this.
I was holding a sponge in my other hand.
I didn't notice that.
Okay, when I first demonstrated it to you, I was doing this because after I got done doing that trick, I said, no, watch what I do now. Watch. I went, look. Going to do this. When I wave the wand, now I've just transferred the ball to the other hand.
I know, I saw that part.
Okay? So you transfer the ball because now you can show this hand empty.
And then you do another spot.
Then you do a 1, 2, and say, oh, it didn't work. I have to do it on this hand. Then you go like this, 1, 2, it didn't work. Then you just take the wand out, you leave the ball there, and then you do tap, tap, and it appears. So basically you've shown your hand empty 2 times before you actually show the ball. Okay, if you do it correctly, you will fool people. Now let me tell you guys a couple rules of magic before we go any further.
Never look where the trick is at.
Now something even more basic. The first one is keep it secret. Okay? Never tell anyone the secret to a trick. Okay? Did you guys ever see the movie The Prestige? It's a story about 2 magicians, feuding magicians in the early 1800s. They don't like each other. But you learn a lot about magic in it. And one of the things they say in there is, don't tell the secret because if you tell the secret, your audience will despise you. That's the way they frame it. But, so that's number 1 is don't tell a secret. And the second one was, I already told you today, what was it?
Don't do it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it.
No repeat. Okay. Right. So before we go any further, I just want to talk to you guys about the plot, the theory on this. So put the wands down for just a second and listen. Listen. The plot is, first we introduce the wand, then it does a couple of little tricks, and then we use the wand to produce the ball, and then we use the final jumping of the wand to vanish the ball for misdirection. Okay, so it needs to happen in that order. Okay, so we're gonna review this stuff before, but let me tell you historically why magicians use magic wands. Because when you're holding a wand like this, you've got a reason for having your hand closed. so you can hold an object in here. I mean, look, you can hide a lot. See, you can't tell what I have in my hand, right? Is it? No, it's a rock. Okay? No, not a real rock. But what I'm saying is that the reason that magicians historically have got magic wands is so they can hold it like that, okay?
And you can also direct people's attention, right?
Yeah, you can use it for directing attention, yep. So let's walk through the plot of this trick, okay? Start out with, are you guys all right-handed, by the way? Okay, start out with the, what? You're left-handed, so you just have to reverse everything I say, okay? So let's all walk through this trick together, okay? In fact, I'd like you to stand up, please. Follow me, all right? Sponge ball in one hand, wand in the other. And you might want to have the wand ready to do the trick if you want.
That's the part that I like.
Now, I want to point out something though. If you can't face the audience and do this, because they see the secret, right? So you have to go like that, so your palm is towards the audience. Okay? Boys and girls, this is my magic wand. He's like an obedient dog. So just do what I do as I do it. When I tell him to stay, watch, stay.
Stay.
Pretty obedient is he stays right there. Then make him move up. And then go, oh, did he move? No, keep it always vertical like this. Did he move?
Yeah.
Oh, bad dog. All right, stay.
Stay, you naughty one.
See how he stays? And you make it move. Oh, did it move again? Oh, he's a sneaky dog, isn't he?
Yes.
All right, so now I got it set again. This is ready for the jump now. Okay?
Stay.
All right,
Stay.
stay. See, I knew he was obedient, but this time you're looking at it. Oh, and he jumps up like that. Oh, he's a sneaky dog.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good one.
The part that's hard for me is like getting to stay.
It's what?
The hard part for me is getting to stay.
Yeah, well, look, I want to show you something. You're trying to do it here. I'm doing it up here. See where it's at the front of the fingers? Do you guys see the difference here? You have it right here. Don't try to get it down here. That's too hard. Get it up at the front of the fingers. Okay? So that's part one of the trick.
There we go.
Okay? Part two of the trick is, remember you got this sponge in this hand, right? We know we want to transfer. You say, this is a magic wand. Now I turn, look, I was facing this way. Now I turn this way. And why am I turning this way?
So that you can put your hands together.
Because, look, the ball is in this hand, but if it's in this hand now, the back of the hand is the audience. So you want to keep the hand that's going to be hiding something, the back of it. So I turn this way, I put my hands together, wave them like that for a second, and then I just transfer it. So the ball is in the same hand as the wand now. Because they were in separate hands. You're turning like this. Follow with me. Turn like this. Grab them, and then say, when I tap my hand, a ball will appear.
Tap my hand, my ball will appear.
Okay.
When I tap my hand, the ball will appear.
So you start it with your hand. So you start with your hand closed. You tap, and then you open, and this is called the magician in trouble. You say, oh, what I meant is when I tap twice, the ball will appear. You can say
When I
that.
tap it twice, the ball will
When I
appear.
tap 3 times.
1, 2. Oh, it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Now, you're going to do the same move as we did before. You put your hands together, rotate, and you switch the wand and the ball to the other hand. So I start with my left hand empty. Now the right hand's empty. Got it? Do that move. I want you guys to just do that move. The ball and the wand is in one hand. You put them both together, your hands together. You rotate, and then you say, I mean when I tap with this on this hand, then that will happen. Then you do the tap. Now, you want to end up on, the way you do this is you want to end up on whichever hand, if you're right-handed, you want to end up with the wand in your right hand. So I don't want to end up this way because I'm left-handed, okay? I want to end up this way because I want to make the wand jump with the right hand. So That's why first I did the trick I did the dog trick. Then we do it like this, tap, tap, it's not there. Then we go like this, tap, tap, it's not there. Then I take the wand out, and the ball is in my left hand, so now I'm holding the wand with my right hand, or in your case, Henrik, you're holding the wand with your left hand. Tap, tap, and it appears, right? So that in itself is really cool. Now to make it disappear.
Drop my sponge.
This is where the jumping the wand will be used as misdirection. Have you guys heard that word before?
Yeah.
Misdirection means you're controlling.
You're focused on the wand jumping and not the fact that you're putting the sponge in your pocket.
Misdirection means you're controlling the audience's attention.
Look
Okay?
at this. Look at this. Don't have a ball in
No, that wasn't good. That's not good. When you say look at this, audiences are smart. If a magician says look at this, they're going to look at your other hand.
They're gonna look anywhere but
Yeah,
this.
exactly. So now that you made the ball appear, okay, and now you tried to make it disappear and it didn't disappear, and then it didn't disappear again. On the second time when it doesn't disappear, that's when you can get the wand set up for the move. Because the audience should be like a little distracted or maybe laughing, the kids, and then you get the wand set up for the move. Now notice how I'm facing,
Move it.
huh?
Didn't go down.
I just did this. So I'm just getting it ready. I don't have it ready to jump yet. Okay? So I showed the ball like that, and it didn't work. If you have to grab it with two hands and get it ready like that, just do it. Okay? The way I'm holding the wand now with my hand palm up, the audience can't see this little bead here. So now you say, now it will happen, and you get the wand ready to jump. Say, what did we forget? We forgot to say the magic birthday words. So when you go like this, and then it jumps across, yeah,
Oh no, my wand broke. Okay.
Okay, let's try it again.
now you,
Now
on
we're
this
gonna
one,
try it again.
you don't want it to go too far, okay? Because you want to be able to pick it up.
Happy
By the way-
birthday, Evan! Oh my gosh!
By the way, when you guys do the wand release, the audience should not think that you did this, because that's not magical, is it?
No.
So you want to make sure that when the wand releases, your hand is held perfectly still. If it's beside your body like this, you just do that. You keep your hand right. Yeah, but
Naughty wand.
make it jump. Don't make it drop. Okay. So get it ready. Get it ready to jump. Hold it, and then that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, for the final
What if you
mistake.
name your wand? Then it could be more like a pet.
You can name it
Oh
if you
my
want.
gosh.
There you go. You can name it if you want. Okay. Okay, now for the final misdirection.
This is Alfred.
All right.
Alfred, I can cooperate.
For right now, I just want you just to set the wand on the floor to your left
To my left.
or to your right. If
To
you're,
my right.
so it's gonna be like, for me, it's by my left foot. For you, it'll be by your right foot, okay? So I face the wand. Now notice, do you see which hand is holding the ball? This is called the upstage hand. It's away from the audience, the upstage hand. So when you bend down like this, that's your misdirection for sticking it in a pocket. Just watch when I do that, okay? See where my hand is? I bend down. When I bend up, my hand's in the same position. Okay? So I want you to do that. So I'm gonna just give you the basic plot for this. This is called the magic wand and the vanishing ball. The basic plot is one, you show the wand moves twice. Right? It moves up. Or we could say it slides up. It slides up twice. Then, when you're not looking. You're not looking. Then, wand jumps when you're looking. Do you guys ever see the movie Roger Rabbit? It's an old movie, but it's about, there's a cartoon world and there's a human world, and the cartoons and the humans can interact. And Roger Rabbit is a cartoon. And he's chained, he's handcuffed to a human, because the bad guys handcuffed him. And they're in trouble for a long time, and they're in handcuffed for a long time, and then eventually, since he's a cartoon, the rabbit just pulls his hand right out. And the human guy goes, he's mad, he goes, "You mean you could have taken your hand out of there at any time?" And Roger goes, "No, not any time, only when it was funny." So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to do this at the right time when it's funny, okay? So the wand jumps. Then 3. You use the wand, you produce the ball. Produce means you make it appear. Produce the ball with the wand. And I should say that you do it after 2 failed attempts. In other words, you try it on this hand and it doesn't work. Then you try it on that hand, it doesn't work. Then you go back to this hand and then it works when you say happy birthday. Then you vanish the ball. After what?
2 failed.
After 2 failed attempts. And then when the ball finally disappears, you say to the kids, "Congratulations, you did it." They made it disappear by saying, "Happy birthday." Because the kids are the star of the show. That's the plot. I'm going to move this right up to the camera so we can see the outline of that trick. I didn't write it very well, but you can take a screenshot of that. All right, so let me tell you about next week. We're going to do more memory stuff. We are going to do another mind-expanding demo of 10 items. And you guys, by next week, you should have, for sure, have decided what you're going to memorize. Okay?
Like a 40 list or 10?
The 40 list.
Okay.
Decide what your 40 list is. And I would like you also to practice this magic trick and glue your wands down like I showed you. So you can't do that. I can see Henrik is a born performer. You're going to do really good doing these tricks, all right? So, so practice that. And next week,
This is Alfred's punishment.
hey guys, look up in here. Next week, bring your wand and your ball back because we're going to practice them again, okay?
All right.
Okay, it's been great, guys. You did really good.